day and welcome back to Weekend Edition. This is Rehash, where we recap the big stories of the past week. And let's start off with Isa.
Okay, well, as Nestor would say, the saga continues with Simon Sanchez High School. And so this has been in the news for years. And once again, the Department of Public Health conducted some health inspections at the school and found that more work needs to be done, or else portions of the school could be cornered off next school year. So DOE said they are working diligently on that, and they are partnering with public health to make sure the school remains open and remains safe for the students. However, just on Thursday, Cortec International filed an appeal with the Office of Public Accountability for the $100 million deal to rebuild Sanchez. And it really needs to be rebuilt or renovated. The school is in a state of, I would say, disrepair, but they're just struggling to keep the campus safe with what they have. So this is the third time Cortec has stalled the appeal or the RFP, so we'll just have to wait to see how that plays out. They did ask for a hearing, so we should note also that the past two protests were denied and they were found to be without merit. So we'll see where this ends up going.
So Nestor, I think you have hopefully lighter news on the business end?
Well, yeah, actually I'd like to maybe put a plug in for the Business Matters. We had an interview with the president of the Chinese Chamber of Commerce, who's opened up a new business. It is a billboard. You might have seen it on the way up from in Upper Tumon on the way up to the Micronesian Mall. So actually, he was at a convention and he saw, I guess, a sample of it in the States, and he thought it'd be a good thing for Guam. There's been a little bit of, like at the ITC intersection, you have the digital billboard and then the billboard that's on the actual building. But this one is more like a cube. So he's put that up there and he's gotten some good response. He did his homework and he got some statistics on the number of drivers that pass through there. And so he thinks it's going to be a pretty good business for him, and so far so good. And he's generated a lot of interest. And one of the things that he was saying was that, like in Asia, people see them all over the place. But the thing that has been kind of hindering it here on Guam, according to him, was that, what happens if there's a storm? For this particular cube billboard, he said it's easy to put them up and it's easy to take them down. So that solves that problem for him.
So could Guam look more like Times Square in the future?
Let's hope not, but yeah. This is one of just a few so far that are going up. So. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Lester. Ken, every week we get this question asked to us. What's the deal with tax refunds?
Well, not much has been going out. Or actually, for the past 4 weeks, they've only issued out 1 million for every weekend. They're still actually on February 9th, so there's still have a long way to go. The issue is that a lot of the error tax returns that were filed, they were only recently cleared, and Revenue Tax, or DOA, has this first in, first out policy, so they have to pay those first. And I think they paid out $1 million. Only about 100. There were about 181 checks this week, but 100 of those went for prior years. So they're still working to complete February 9th. I know there was a lot of frustration because they noted after February 8th that once that's cleared, they'll be able to pay refunds faster, but it still hasn't happened. So, but a lot of all this money is coming out of the general fund. And speaking of the general fund, earlier this week, DOA went to the legislature for an oversight hearing on some GMH payments, but during that hearing they noted that the general fund is actually going to experience a $59 million deficit, and this is a result of a lot of obligations that they had been having to pay, specifically with bond payments for the Guam Solid Waste Authority. So they were saying they don't have to. They were saying that this bond payments, they haven't been reimbursed for, they haven't been paid back for, so that's what's resulting in this deficit. And it's very timely because the lawmakers will go into the budget hearing starting next week, and then leading up to budget sessions, and before the end of the fiscal year. So we'll see how that turns out.
Okay. So back to tax refunds. The lesson learned here is file early and file accurately.
Yeah.
So because they're only in February right now, and tax day is April 15th.
Yeah.
As for myself, bad news to report on my aunt, Carly Jean Kitchicho. She was the 5-year-old girl who was struck by a car. She passed away Friday afternoon. She was definitely fighting. She was in critical condition for the last 24 hours prior to passing away. Her death marks the sixth traffic-related fatality since April. Guys, we're in June. This year is going by fast, and we're seeing a lot of traffic-related deaths. So you saw earlier in the newscast, we did a story with Highway Patrol Division, ways to keep safe on the road. Also, the police have identified the driver from the fatal autoped in Dededo earlier this week. For more on him and for more on any KUM stories, check out any of our social media sites or email us at reporters@KUM.com if you want us to cover anything.